Hey there YouTube, how's it going today? My name's Daniel. Today, I don't know if you like this voice of mine, my voice, I was born with it, I can't really change. I can go, oh, but aside from that, there's not much change I can do. That's not the point. The main point is I'm going to be using this voice to be talking to you guys today. I'm going to be talking about Pulp's second last album, This Is Hardcore, released in 1998. I was 2 years old back then. At the time, not old enough to actually listen to the album. But now that I'm 18, not only am I old enough to listen to the album, I'm also old enough to review it for your listening pleasure, although you might just want to listen to the album. It probably sounds better than this. But whatever! Here's my review. Thank you for watching. So yeah, This Is Hardcore is, as I said, Pulp's second last album. It came after Different Class, which many people would consider to be the greatest of the Pulp albums, you know, because there's Common People, and the thing though, with Different Class, I've heard apparently it's what brought Pulp really to fame. Like, it started, you know, they were indie, then there's like a few songs, then there was His and Hers, and then there was Different Class, and that was pretty much when Pulp peaked in their fame levels. And apparently, I was watching the Pulp documentary film about life, death, and supermarkets, and one of the band members said that they always wanted to be a part of that whole pop scene, but by the time they got there, they realized it really wasn't for them. So they sort of, you know, because people that they were around weren't really as great as they thought they'd be. I know Jarvis Cocker, he got into cocaine, I believe, and some drugs and not that much fun stuff. And yeah, so Pulp really tried to distance themselves, and also they made, probably just because of the way they were feeling at the time, they made a much darker sounding album. And honestly, the first time I heard This Is Hardcore, it did alienate me. It took me a few listens to really get into it. Now it's probably my favorite album just because of how much different it is from the previous two albums Pulp released. It's very unique. Right off the bat, you know it's going to be unique because the introductory song on the album is called The Fear. And The Fear is one of my favorite opening tracks because right off the bat, it tells you things are going to be different. This is not going to be a light-hearted album. Not that our previous albums were light-hearted, but this is dark. I'm just going to read quickly the first two verses, because I got this book with lyrics. Just the first two verses that really open the song. So it goes, "This is our music from a bachelor's den, the sound of loneliness turned up to 10, a horror soundtrack from a stagnant waterbed, and it sounds just like this. This is the sound of someone losing the plot, making out that they're okay when they're not. You're going to like it, but not a lot." And the chorus goes like this. And then, you know, the chorus goes, and the song goes, and the song starts playing. But right off the bat, this is the sound of someone losing the plot. This isn't a cheery, like, la-da-da-da-da. This isn't your common album you just find. Be like, oh, hey, what's this? New One Direction came out. Woo! It's not like that. This is a darker album. And really, I think what sums up the album as a whole is the title track, This Is Hardcore. So if the opening track, though, didn't give it away, one thing that will immediately catch someone's eyes as this is different is the cover for the album. I'm not going to show it because I don't know if I get flagged for some like weird nudity thing or something. It's not real nudity. But you have this naked girl, I think there's like some side boobs showing or something. She's lying down, she's got lipstick on, she's all made up. But it's not like she's lying down, she's all sexy. It's a very pornographic picture, but it's not like sexy and, ooh, look at me. It's like she's completely miserable looking, and that's really what this album, what the title track of this album, This Is Hardcore, is about. The song it's really one of the most sexual songs I've ever heard, but not in the, hey, yeah, let's go to the club, pick some people up, we'll do the do and all that fun stuff, and it'll be great. It's dirty, it's perverted, it's filthy, but it's also just loving every second of it. The lyric, "This is what men in stained raincoats pay for," pretty much sums it up. It's so dark and it's pornographic and but it's not pornographic in a sexy way. It's pornographic in like a vile, filthy, disgusting, sexy way. And I can't perfectly describe it, but just listen to the song This Is Hardcore and that sums up a lot of the album. Especially when it reaches just the climax of the song. Once Jarvis starts singing and the guitars start going and all that, it has a feeling that not really any other song has made me feel before. It just feels almost like the world comes crashing down and it's this big everything has led to this moment and it's a huge disaster feeling. I can't quite describe it. I don't know if I'm doing it justice right now, but it's just, it's amazing. I love it. But one thing about this album though is, when I think of This Is Hardcore, I do think of songs like The Fear, the song Party Hard, which is another song around those things, This Is Hardcore, all that stuff. That's usually what my mind goes to. But that's only like maybe not even half of the album. The album goes from one thing to another. It's never a happy, cheery album. The album is either filthy, fearing, hardcore, party hard, and all that, or it's like, that's like half the songs. But the other half of the songs are sort of more of a calmer, just look back at life and a retrospect of it all. The song Dishes is basically just Jarvis Cocker saying, you know what? I'm not Jesus. I'm not a perfect guy, but I'm doing my best. I'm trying to help you. This is what I am. And that's a really nice just look at things. Then there's also Help the Aged, which is saying, respect the elderly and all that. There's TV Movie, which is looking back at a failed relationship and saying, without you, my life's become a movie made for TV. It's not the big thing that everyone wanted. It's just dull. There's none of that really fun stuff. Bad dialogue, no interest, too long, no story, no sex. I really like quoting the lyrics on this album because I really love his album. And there's just songs like, I love the song I'm a Man, which he's saying, hey, I can do, I've seen this outline of what's it supposed to be a guy. I can tell a dirty joke, I can smoke, I can do all these things. Is that all there is? Is this really it? Is this what it is to be a man? And he's sort of looking at it, and he's saying, what is it? Like, why are we alive? What is this? What is that? And he's looking at life, he's looking at his life, he's looking at others' lives. There's a song, Sylvia, where he looks at specifically a girl's life and says, I can't help you, you're in a crappy situation right now, but things are going to get better. And that's what I like about this album, is it's not pure dark, because it's dark, it's filthy, but it's not a depressing album at all. It's either dark and filthy, or the other times when it's feeling down is when it's looking back at life and retrospectively, and it's almost beautiful, I'd say, just the way that he looks back at things. It's overall a good album. One thing I find with most pulp albums is there's usually a track on an album that I skip through, not necessarily because it's a bad song, but just because it's one of the ones that drags out more, and I don't really feel like it flows as well as I would like to with the album. David's Last Summer, I felt like that with His and Hers. I felt like that a little bit with Feeling Called Love on Different Class, which is a great album, which is a great song once it kicks off. And then Seductive Berry, I felt like that on This Is Hardcore. It's just, it takes a long time, there's not really any payoff. It's supposed to be this long, I'm not even sure, like, seductive song, really. And yeah, it does what it's supposed to do. It's just, I don't feel like it flows perfectly with the whole album. And then there's also the song Glory Days, which Glory Days, I was listening to Glory Days, I'm like, yeah, this is an okay song. Then I was listening to disc 2 of the deluxe edition, and I listened to the song Cocaine Socialism, and I'm like, this sounds a lot like Glory Days, and that's because apparently Cocaine Socialism was written before Glory Days, but for some reason Jarvis Cocker sort of recycled the song and changed the lyrics, changed the song a bit, although it's very, very similar sounding, and put that on the album as opposed to Cocaine Socialism, which I was like, what? That's crazy. But yeah, that's that. Overall, my final words, because my camera's flashing, it says time's about to run up. Overall, I did like this album. I thought it was a very great album, possibly my favorite pulp album. And yeah, it's darker, it's different, and Jarvis Cocker is a very, very, very skilled writer, songwriter. I really like his unique view on sex and life and all this stuff. It's just something that I don't see in I can't think of any other songwriters like that. Anyways, I really don't want to go over time, although I know this is a very long video already. I will talk to you guys later, and goodbye! If you're a pulp fan, tell me what your favorite album is, and yeah, goodbye.